All right, Nuggets fans, welcome into Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by good friends at Mile High Sports and FanDuel. I'm your host, Ryan Blackburn, at NBA Blackburn on Twitter, part of the Mile High Sports Podcast Network, and I am here. I am ready live from number 38 to discuss the Denver Nuggets win last night over the vaunted Houston Rockets. Final score was 112-109. Truly an awesome, incredible game and an impressive performance from the Nuggets to be able to pull that one out, to get it done. They lose Aaron Gordon early in the game, but they fought through it, did a lot of good things, and saw a lot of great performances. So lots of exciting stuff here. As I mentioned, we are live from number 38. Danny Bailey is in the studio. This is the Mile High Sports Studio, sponsored by Volo Sports and the Vimos app. Make sure to check them out. Danny, you were able to check out the game last night. Just really impressive performance from the Nuggets. Was it surprising that they were able to get that done, especially when Aaron Gordon went down, or were you expecting them to be able to pull it out?
Without AG, it definitely was surprising to me because they already were down CB, like we were talking about before the show here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know why my camera is not on. I should check that before.
Saw a little black screen there.
At the same time, they do have the guys to match up with Houston. I thought it was going to be a really close, good matchup, as it was kind of a, like we said earlier, again, a measuring stick game.
Yeah.
So having the ability to get a clutch win against another team that's going to be at the top of the West at the end of the year, it means a lot. And it's the NBA Cup, so cherry on top.
Hey, man, NBA Cup, the Nuggets are, it's funny. They are not first in the NBA Cup in their own division or in their own group. They are second behind the Portland Trailblazers. We'll get into that in the second segment. The Portland Trailblazers, because they have the head-to-head matchup against the Nuggets. That is what matters most, and it's too bad because the Nuggets have played like the best team in the NBA Cup, but it doesn't matter if you lose like by 2 points because of a poor decision by a referee, where somebody gives you a bear hug. But we won't think too much about that. We're not going to be too negative on this one. Samuel Blackrider says, "Hi from Paris. Hello, what's up? That's sick." We're worldly here at Pickaxe and Roll, and obviously appreciate everybody for tuning in wherever they are. When we go live at 11 a.m., sometimes it's not the best time for the United States, but it's a great time if you're international, great time if you're in Paris. So thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate it. We got to talk about, there's so many things that we can get into from last night's game, Danny. The one that I really think that we should emphasize is Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray stepping up and being veteran leaders, elite contributors, and matching up on the road against two really impressive players, Alperen Sengun and Kevin Durant. Obviously, both of those guys are stamped in their own ways. Sengun made his first All-Star appearance last year. He's even better this season. And like there was discussion before this game, hey, I don't need to be baby Jokic anymore. I don't need to be, I'm going to write my own story. It's actually fun. There was some really interesting symmetry between that where Jokic says, like Alpi is good enough. Like he doesn't need to be, he's not baby. He's his own player. He can write his own story. And then clearly Sengun heard that interview and was like, yeah, I am good enough. I don't need to write, but I can write my own story. That's it. It didn't look like it last night. It was actually a really genuinely impressive performance from Nikola Jokic versus Alperen Sengun. He wasn't the only guy that helped hold down Sengun to the points and the production level that he had, but the differences in levels between those two guys was unbelievable. 34 points for Jokic, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, and a block, was a +4 in a game the Nuggets won by 3. Played 39 minutes, was in foul trouble for a lot of that time, had to kind of navigate that in both the first and second half. But that's because they're playing very physical. This was a very physical game, and the Nuggets were battling. And yeah, Jokic was in his element doing that. It was really interesting to see. On the other side, Alperen Sengun, 36 minutes, 14 points on 14 shots, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 turnovers, was a minus 16 in his 36 minutes. The Rockets were not at their best when they were playing through Sengun, and a lot of that was due to Jokic. A lot of that was due to his ability on both ends of the floor. One end, like really putting pressure on Alperen Sengun when he was scoring, when he was shooting over him, when he was not just shooting over him, but pump faking, driving around him, and dunking on him. That was sick. That was pretty cool. But then on the defensive end, it was from the jump, right? Like it was from the get-go where the Rockets scored just 12 points in the first quarter. And a lot of that was because Jokic was so good defensively. It wasn't the only one, let me be clear, but a lot of those situations where like Sengun is trying to, like in a lot of these situations, he'll try to generate some open shots in a one-on-one coverage situation. Jokic was one-on-one. He wasn't getting a lot of help in those cases, especially in the first quarter. And he shut down Sengun on a lot of those early drives. It gave Denver a great position early. And I just really liked the energy and the intensity and the focus that the Nuggets brought to this game. It showed that they cared. It showed that like this was one that they really cared about, that they really thought about. They brought a different level of intensity and focus than they had versus the New Orleans Pelicans, certainly on that Wednesday night matchup. But I was excited to see it, Danny. I was really excited to see it. You have a favorite play from Jokic last night? Was it the poster dunk? Was it the whip pass that he had to Bruce Brown? Shout out Bruce Brown, by the way. We've got some things coming with Bruce Brown, in addition to him being on the cover here for the Mile High Sports magazine. What was your favorite play from the Joker last night, Danny?
I'm gonna go with 8 made free throws.
Oh, wow!
Yeah,
sick.
Caught you off guard there, huh?
This is an OKC Thunder fan.
No, so there's a thing that it probably only really bothers me. That's not true. It probably bothers some other people too, but they're sickos like I am.
Let's go.
I just get so worked up when Jokic misses free throws, especially late in a game.
Yeah.
So when he goes 8 for 10, I want to give him an attaboy because I give him a lot of crap when he misses free throws, even though he doesn't. It's not like he shoots terrible at the line. He's not Shaq.
No,
but every once in a while he'll clank one, and it makes me a little bit irritated because he has such great touch. Yeah. I know he can make them easy.
Like you're really waiting for this now, like in the clutch, but it was reversed. It was different this time, where first quarter, second quarter, he missed a couple, but then in the fourth quarter, he was clutch. He was very clutch. He knocked them down, did all the things that he's supposed to do. And my guy Swipa on the other show basically said, I called it, Ryan. I called it. This is exactly what was going to happen. And like he made some clutch free throws, and it was really cool to see because you're right. He has had some troubles with that in the past, but that was not what happened last night. He was absolutely delivering, and it was just really cool.
Also pretty cool that 4 out of 5 starters had a block in that game.
The defense was great.
The defense was firing.
They were all around, and like there were a couple of blocks. Domingo says, or Demesia, Dominic. I'm sorry, I'm the font is very small over here. So what about the P-Watt swat on KD? 100%. Like that was sick. The P-Watt swat on Alperen Sengun when he drove into the paint, like with a minute to go, was also sick. How about the Jamal Murray block on Kevin Durant, like from the side? Like I don't think I've seen anybody really do that to KD before. Just a very smart, intelligent play. Murray also had a really good late steal against Sengun when he tried to force a pass over the top to Amen Thompson in the dunker. Just a really great defensive performance. It started with Jokic, but then it ballooned out to everybody else. And like you have to be on a string in a lot of these cases. You have to be able to play all around. I mean, Cam Johnson had a steal and a block. The only guy who didn't have a steal and a block in this game was Aaron Gordon, who played 3 minutes. We'll get to that in just a bit. But Peyton Watson, great against KD. He was one of the primary reasons why KD was a little bit lesser in this game while he didn't get as involved. It was because he was denying the ball, denying some drives, denying some spots a lot of the time. And then Jokic was hard helping in a lot of those situations and trying to get the ball out of his hands. So really good credit to the Nuggets for being able to make that play, make the plays that they were supposed to on the defensive end. The only criticism I think you can have of Denver and the defense that they played was just allowing guys like Jabari Smith Jr. and Reed Shepherd, especially Reed Shepherd, to get open from three as often as they did. But some of those shots were just really good, man. Like some of those shots, you're facing a great team. This is what I was talking about prior to when I thought that Denver's 3-point rate and 3-point percentage would adjust, because when you're playing teams like the Houston Rockets, they've got shooters everywhere. They've got, like, you have to focus on KD, obviously. You have to focus on Sengun. You have to focus on Amen Thompson. Sometimes you're going to let Jabari Smith Jr. get open. You're going to let Reed Shepherd get open, and it happens throughout a game. And those guys like nearly made Denver pay. The last three that Jabari Smith Jr. hit was sick, despite the fact great defense by Spencer Jones and the Nuggets on that play. So, like, to me, this was just a fantastic game and really emphasized the levels that these two teams, and I'm going to say two, like, people just want me to credit the Nuggets. I'm going to credit the Rockets too, because they helped kind of get Denver to this level. Like, this is what's great about basketball, is that when you have moments like this, and I call them measuring stick games, when you have moments like this, you can absolutely see how much both teams care about it. And you can absolutely see, like, they're making each other better by forcing them to play their best and cutting off the first and second options. Like, there was a play late in the fourth quarter where Denver worked the ball around the perimeter. They worked the ball around the interior. It started off by, I'm pretty sure it was Cam Johnson, like, receiving a pass. Reed Shepherd went for the steal and didn't get it. And so he was behind the play the entire time as a result. Cam Johnson immediately drives, passes to the baseline passes to the opposite corner passes to the top. They rotate the ball around. It looks a little bit crazy, looks a little bit wild. They're trying to maintain their advantage, and then the ball suddenly finds Jamal Murray in the middle with a slightly open shot, and then he makes it. Looking back at that play, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't ideal. It wasn't like the most beautiful Denver Nuggets or like prime San Antonio Spurs ball movement, but it was forced because of how hard the Rockets were playing and how hard they were trying to recover on that play. And the Nuggets were forced to be better. They were forced to be their best. And so I love plays like that because, as I talked about, Danny, like measuring stick games, this is like something I wrote about yesterday, where the Nuggets had to play they had to play up to the level, and the Rockets had to play up to the level to match it in order for that game to be great. And it was great yesterday. But I like these games throughout the year because it shows where you are as a team. It shows, like, at that particular time, you don't have to win all of them. You don't have to even play great in all of them. But there are some where you want to see how a team responds to adversity. You want to see how they respond to elite talent. And you want to see the kind of level that a team can reach throughout the year, just to kind of get a proxy of what you're going to see in the playoffs. And like, when you're playing sub 500 teams or average teams, Danny, that's how you build up the record. But when you're playing these measuring stick games, that's how you show how far you can go. And to me, last year, Denver didn't play that well in the measuring stick games. This year, they've started out 3-0, 2 games against Minnesota, and now 1 game against the Houston Rockets. What are you thinking about them as a contender now?
Definitely still a believer. I mean, I was a believer before, and one of the things that we kept harping on coming into the season was health. If they stay healthy, they should be there at the end.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing them have to contend with that a little bit, but it's also very different for you to go into a game without Christian Brown, knowing you're not going to have Christian Brown, planning for that, and then you think you're going to have AG, you lose him in the first quarter. How do you respond to that in-game change?
Yeah.
They did a great job doing that, which I think shows a lot of maturity. Like you mentioned earlier, Jamal and Jokic leading the way with that. They got other good vets on the team that can kind of hold the guys together, even when you lose somebody that you're expecting to be a big contributor. So, yeah, obviously hoping that AG is back as soon as possible, because he's a huge part of this team and he's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's a joy. But yeah, the Nuggets definitely impressed me last night. They got a clutch win against a good team. one of the best big men in the league, probably.
Yeah.
And one of the best scorers in the league in KD. And the Nuggets were able to get it done. So credit to them. Great game. Great game.
It was fun. Also want to make sure to emphasize Jamal Murray didn't have a good first half in the last game, last night. It was pretty shaky. There were some plays where he was over dribbling a little bit, where he turned the ball over because he was trying to be too patient at times rather than being a little bit more definitive. And it cost him. It cost him in the first half. I thought he played a fantastic second half. I thought that what he needed to do in that case, kind of assuming some responsibility, some of the dribbling and some of the creation responsibility away from Jokic at times, and especially in the couple of minutes where Jokic had to leave the floor, really valuable stuff. Like what Jamal has done in these games a lot of the time is he has risen to the occasion. He has put out some really impressive numbers. I mean, last night he was super efficient, despite the fact that it didn't feel that way in the moment. 26 points, 10 of 16 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 3 of 4 from the line, missed a clutch free throw, but we'll give him a pass because he did make the second one to make it a 4-point game. And then Jabari Smith hit that crazy 3 that nearly put them in a bind there. But really good stuff from Jamal Murray. 10 assists to 4 turnovers. That's a ratio that you take all day. Like I know that people, whenever Jokic has 4 turnovers, everybody's like, but he's also handling the ball and also creating all the time. So you got to extend Jamal the same courtesy when he's playing 41 minutes against Amen Thompson, who is an absolute demon defensively. That dude is insane. And just the style of play that the Rockets were playing last night, they were blitzing Jamal the entire night. So he was going to make some mistakes, but also made some really, really important plays, especially when you miss Aaron. So really good stuff from him, really good stuff from the Nuggets overall. There's a couple of things that we can hit on the other side and talking about the replacements for Aaron Gordon throughout the game, including Peyton Watson a little bit, who I think deserves a lot of credit. But let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the Aaron Gordon injury ramifications, some of the NBA Cup stuff, as well as how the Nuggets are going to handle their back-to-back tonight against the Sacramento Kings. We'll be right back here on Pickaxe and Roll.
This podcast is brought to you by Delete Me. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone feel vulnerable. Data brokers, they profit off of your data. It's a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. Have you ever been the victim of identity theft, harassment, doxing? If you haven't, you probably know someone who has. Delete Me can help. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to deleteme.com/hit and use promo code HIT at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/HIT and enter code HIT at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/HIT, code HIT.
All right, we are back. Pickaxe and Roll, Ryan Blackburn here. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, folks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Would really, really appreciate it. As you could probably tell by my mic, and as you could probably tell by the ambiance here, we are in the number 38 studio. Again, sponsored by the Volo Sports and Vimos app. So really appreciate those guys for helping us out, and really appreciate number 38 for having us out here. As always, it's always a great time. I love popping over and grabbing some lunch after these shows. The sandwiches that they put together are awesome. It is really great. And obviously I'm not a big drinker, but I definitely indulge at some points. And number 38's got a lot of great options. They've even got some Mile High Sports branded stuff that you should definitely come check out, including a Pickaxe and Roll beverage that you should definitely check out too. So thank you for tuning in. And if you're in the area, in the Rhino area, make sure to stop by number 38. All right, Danny, I wanted to pull up, and I didn't do this before the show, so I apologize, but I'm going to pull up the rotation chart really quickly and put that on the screen. We'll see if I screw that up. I did, but we're going to put myself up in the corner. Just very quickly, The most important thing that people need to see from this is that Aaron Gordon played 3 minutes, and that the response for Denver for the most part was for Tim Hardaway Jr. to play an extended amount of time, and for Peyton Watson to then kind of move from the shooting guard position that he was playing a lot of the time to then small forward to then power forward, as the Nuggets were kind of playing some different lineups. I expect the Nuggets will probably do that for the most part going forward, but Spencer Jones was the guy who started in the second half and gave them some size, gave them the necessary size to really match up with the physicality of the Houston Rockets. I'm not sure if that's something that they're going to be doing the entire time, but Spencer Jones played over 20 minutes. I expect him to play about 20 in the games going forward because he's a guy that they really trust. There's a lot of different things that we can look to on the Nuggets rotation decisions, but if Murray is playing, then Bruce Brown will play and he'll kind of move to the 2 a little bit more, and Tim Hardaway will then play the 2, but also then move to the 3, at least a little bit more when those guys are on the floor. So Denver can survive the absence of Aaron Gordon, but it's when you start getting into the absence of Jamal Murray as well. If he has to take a rest on the second night of a back-to-back, it's, hey, you've got Christian Brown out, you've got Aaron Gordon out, you've got Jamal Murray out. If they and Jamal's not out yet. Actually, I think he still has lines listed on FanDuel. So there's plenty of other things that they can manage and they can do. But it's something to note. It's something to at least be conscious of, especially heading into tonight. But right now, I think we should let's talk about the NBA Cup first. That's the quick and easy thing. Denver's now 2-1 in NBA Cup play. They've done a really good job of recovering from the loss that they initially sustained against the Portland Trailblazers. They are second in the standings technically, but the Blazers currently have the tiebreaker because they have the head-to-head. And so the way that this works out, Danny, is that if the Blazers win their next 2 games, they are in as the winner of Group C, guaranteed. It doesn't actually matter what the point differential is, because the Nuggets are there's only 2 teams that can tie at that point, because the Blazers still have to play the Spurs and the Nuggets still have to play the Spurs. If they both win against the Spurs, which I don't really think is going to happen, I think the Blazers are probably going to falter there. But if they lose, or if the Blazers win against the Spurs and they win in their other matchup that they have to play, then they will advance, and the Nuggets will probably not advance, or they'll have to go to the wild card, where it's all about point differential at that point, because there will be another couple of 3-1 teams, and Denver still has to figure that out. There's a couple of the shout out to
Minnesota's point differential is crazy.
It is crazy. Now they still have to face the OKC Thunder, and the Thunder. I don't know if you guys saw it last night. The Thunder were down by 6 to 8 points and then won by 32 in the span of 12 minutes. It was unbelievable but they're facing the Utah Jazz, who I think are intentionally tanking.
33-4 run. That's hard to.
They started early. Now, to be fair, the Thunder are just great, and they could do that against most any team, but I think the Jazz made it a little bit easier. But Denver at this point, they have outs. They have the opportunity to get to Vegas if they want to, but it means that they have to win against the Spurs next week. They play on November 28th against the Spurs. They'll have 3 days off with Thanksgiving in the middle. So I'm curious to see, hey, you're going to be filling up on the turkey and the mashed potatoes and the gravy and the pie. We'll find out. We'll see what happens. I know I will be because it's the time to enjoy. But for the Nuggets, that'll be a very pivotal game if you want to see them advance to Vegas to the NBA Cup in the elimination stage. So we'll see how that goes. I think that, Danny, the Nuggets are in an interesting place now. Last night I was talking on Locked On about Denver has to be careful because of the injuries that are now racking up. And I stand by that. I still think that is true. Obviously, you just want to celebrate a win against an elite Houston Rockets team. You want to celebrate that. You want to credit that. And it's 100% true. Denver showed that they could be a title contender with this one. And they already showed it before. Like, I don't think anybody was really concerned about that. But it's just another piece of evidence that really shows, yeah, Denver is at that level. They are clearly at that level. If not the best team in the NBA, they're probably the second best team in the NBA. And that is like championship caliber. I just worry a little bit about you start building up the level of injuries and the number of injuries that you accumulate early on in a season. And then you start to play a lot of heavy minutes. You start to play a lot of, like, you have to face, okay, Kings on the second night of back-to-back should be a relatively easy game. What if Jokic has to play another 38 minutes in this game? Like, that's not awesome.
Ideal.
It's, of course. And, like, you're going to try to play, you're going to try to figure it out. You want to have the guys step up in this situation for, like, I would assume that Jamal Murray rests, but we'll see whether he does. Aaron Gordon's going to be out. We don't know the timetable for that, but it could be 2 weeks. It could be 4 weeks. It could be longer. Christian Brown's already out for at least another 4 weeks. So you start to build that up. And fortunately, it's early enough in the season that I think that they'll be able to adjust. They'll be able to figure out. But you just want to make sure that you're not putting undue miles on your players early in the season because they've done the work, man. They've done the work. They've done so many great things already. And like 12-3 is their record, right? 12-3. Like, correct. That's insane. think about last year if you had said that the Nuggets were going 12-3. And two of those
losses aren't necessarily like games they should have lost.
Yeah. Like, I don't remember what the actual point margin against the Warriors was. I'm going to call it -1 because they lost in overtime. It was probably more than that. But like, realistically, they had a small point margin versus the Warriors, a small point margin of 2 against the Blazers, and a point margin of 3 against the Chicago Bulls. That was obviously a game they shouldn't have lost, but you make up for it by winning a road game against the Houston Rockets. And like, this is just what this team can do. They're capable of both. And that's both encouraging and also just a piece of like, you got to file it away for later. But Denver, they have done the work to me. They've done the work that I asked them to do, that I was hoping that they would accomplish. Hit the ground running at the beginning of the season. Take these games seriously because it provides you margin towards the end so that you can rest these guys, so that you can give them time off, so you can allow Aaron Gordon to take as much time as he needs to get back healthy and strong and doing the things that he needs to do to be the best version of himself. Same thing for Christian Brown. Like, Christian's got a high ankle sprain. You want to give that like as much time as possible to rest. You want to make sure everything is healed up and ready to go. And so my hope for Denver is that they don't rush guys back, that they take their time, and you take some losses if you have to. Like, it's not necessary to go full bore now because they've done the work. Like, they did exactly what I was hoping for, 12-3. If they go 9-6 in the next 15 games, I'm not going to be upset. Nobody should be upset. Like, you just have to contextualize this thing as much as possible. If you're going 9-6 and Jokic is playing 40 minutes, then you can start to have some questions. If you're going 12-3 and Jokic is playing 40 minutes, that's a little bit better because at least you're winning and you're continuing to bank wins. If you're going 9-6 and Jokic is only playing 32, 33, that's fine. I am not concerned about that in any way, shape, or form, and hope that they continue to have the long view on this because, like, while you want to try to, like, it's the battle for like that coaches and teams all have to have throughout the year. You want to win as many games as you can in order to get to the level that and the top 3 seed where you're justified for being there. But you also don't want to sell your soul in order to do it. And so I hope that Denver is conscientious of that. I know actually for a fact that they are conscientious of that. It's just about balancing when people are in the red, when they're in the red from a fatigue and injury risk standpoint. You just got to make sure to be smart about it. That's all I was trying to say last night. That's all I'm trying to say now. Denver can and should be very positive about the way that they have started the season, despite the fact that there have been a couple of injuries, because injuries do happen. Like, I'm not naive. Like, I it's obviously was going to be a thing. So like, we'll see how it goes from here, but credit to the Nuggets for stepping up and doing the things that they're supposed to do as a leading championship contender in the NBA against a relatively weak schedule. They got in against a really tough team, did the exact same thing. Did a lot of great stuff against them and showed that they could hit a level that was very, very impressive as well. Okay. Danny, why don't we transition over to this Kings game tonight? Looking at FanDuel right now, according to FanDuel, the Nuggets are currently 11-point favorites against the Kings while at home on the second night of a back-to-back. You go on a 2-game road trip for Denver on Wednesday and Friday. It's not a long enough road trip that I don't think the Nuggets are going to be like shaky like they were in the last kind of return game against Chicago, where that was a 3-game trip. It took them a lot of time. They're out for a week. This is a little bit different. I think that Denver will be back. I think they will be focused. And this line is pretty reasonable. Now, I'm not sure it's priced in the possibility that Jamal is going to miss. There's at least, I think, a possibility that he rests, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe he still plays and maybe he just tries to gut it out and does the things that the Nuggets try to do, like to continue earning a win and continue earning and like staying on top of their schedule and doing the right things. But yeah, like I'm looking through some of the props here, looking at some of the things. Jokic is currently minus 104 to score 30 points. Come on, man. Like, come on. Like,
what no value in that? It's crazy.
I know, but like, yeah, there's no value, but also I feel like it's pretty much a lock.
Yeah, that's a good one where I think if it's hovering around that 100, make a little same game parlay, put some stuff in there maybe that's really likely to happen, and then that's one of them that's going to give you a nice little boost.
Another one that I think could be interesting. Oh, no line for Peyton Watson threes, huh? He's going to start. I'm surprised that they haven't created a line for him at this point. I was going to say Peyton Watson 2+ threes. Like, I know that sounds like crazy because
I like that.
Like Watson's not like, he's not seen as a shooter and not seen like, but like the Kings defense is so bad. Like they are so bad. And they're also not going to have Domantas Sabonis. It's one of the reasons why the line is as disparate as it is. They are not going to have Domantas Sabonis. They're going to be playing at a faster pace. What I will say is a game where you take the over. It's currently 236.5, which is like, that's a pretty high number to be clear. But I also think that like the Nuggets offense has proven to be like pretty bulletproof, like through the start of the season, no matter who they have, no matter what they're going through at that point. If they have Jokic on the floor, they're going to create a lot of great offense. I remember that Pacers game. It was either last week or the week before, where second night of a back-to-back, they were without Jamal and Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic like just helped them get to a place where they still put up like 39 points in a quarter. They had some struggles at various points, but it just didn't matter because like they will continuously generate good shots while Jokic is out there. I think Tim Hardaway will have some good ramifications for this. He's going to get a lot of opportunities. I think 15+ points for Tim Hardaway seems pretty reasonable. And you start to think about, okay, well, what can Denver do? Are they going to win this matchup? Are they going to play it smart? Like, I think it depends on who's out there. It depends on how much focus they have. It should be an easy win, as Cody says. He says tonight and Monday should both be easy wins. But it's also tough. It's hard to bet on that from the perspective of, okay, you would like to see Denver like not take it seriously, because I think they're taking these games seriously. But Jokic, I think against Chicago, there's a couple times where he wasn't providing like the hard closeouts in those games, because like you got to conserve your energy somewhere. You got like throughout the season, you can't play full bore the entire time. He saved it for Houston. Like, think about the difference in levels from Denver and from Jokic defensively in that Houston game where he knew he had to be there versus the Chicago game where they were trying to survive. They're trying to get through it. And they got burned, unfortunately, because the levels weren't high enough. But like, it's not going to be an easy win. I don't think that. I think that now we'll see what happens with Sacramento. And maybe I'm wrong for this, but like, this is, of course, a trap game spot where Denver, coming off of a major win in a situation on the NBA Cup where you're facing off against a great championship caliber team, that now you have to play the Kings for the third time in a row. There's no way. I mean, it's going to be impossible for the Nuggets to be as focused on the Kings as they were on the Rockets in this last night's game. So now we'll see what happens. It may not matter. Like, the Nuggets are just way better than the Kings. They are so much clearly better. But you know that Russell Westbrook's going to bring it. Like, that's a guy. If you're points, rebounds, and assists for Russell Westbrook, I think that's a good number.
Plus 850 for a Russ triple-double.
Ooh. Interesting.
I'm tempted to sprinkle on it.
There's a good long shot for you. Can you parlay that with a Kings win?
Yeah, probably, but I don't think that would happen. You think that's the only way he gets it?
No, but it's like, hey, you're going for the long shot. So like, what happens in that case? He creates a lot of threes. He creates a lot of open dunks. He creates some opportunities, and the Nuggets offense just isn't quite good enough to outpace a Kings team that's being driven by some good Russell Westbrook things. That wouldn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. So like, hey, maybe not a bad counter to an emotional hedge, if you will, for Nuggets fans, as you obviously want to see Denver win. You want to see them do well, but there's a possibility that they don't, and there's a possibility that, like, the reason why, if that were to happen, it's probably Russell Westbrook. So we'll see what happens, but I'm very curious to see how they perform. Very curious to see how they do it. Any final thoughts, Danny?
Do you think that we'll see anybody tonight that we haven't seen very much of this season now that they're dealing with some banged up guys?
Good question. I do think that Spencer Jones continues to start. I think that, like, if hypothetically, let's say Murray plays, you're going to go with Murray, Watson, Cam Johnson, Spencer Jones, Nikola Jokic. Like you started in the last game, it's a defensive group. It's an athletic group. It's one where, the basketball IQ is pretty high with that group. I think Watson will give you a good defender that you can throw at DeMar DeRozan, that you can throw at Zach LaVine. He'll chase those guys around and be pretty good. Spencer Jones, I think, will also be pretty good in those cases. I would rather him guard Zach LaVine than DeMar DeRozan, though, because like that's a foul drawing magnet waiting to happen. So we'll see about that. Oh, by the way, Keegan Murray was back for the Sacramento Kings. He came off the bench in the last game, so maybe he transitions into the starting lineup at some point. That could be something that Denver has to contend with, but I don't think it really impacts the game too terribly much. We'll see whether that's actually true. But I think so. Spencer Jones will start. You're going to get Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway off the bench, of course. Bruce will probably start in place of Jamal if Jamal were to rest. And outside of that, like, Julian Strawther's been out. I'm not sure what his status would be. We haven't seen an updated injury report, of course. I think that you're probably looking at Zeke. You're probably looking at Zeke Naji in that case. Maybe you look at Jalen Pickett as a backup point guard option in that case if Murray were to sit. If he's not going to sit, then I don't think you play Pickett. I think you play Zeke. I think you stay big. I think you stay athletic, and you try to play better defense while Jokic kind of captains the offense in that case. So we'll see.
And without AG, do you want to see more of Jokic and Val on the court at the same time?
I think you have to. Like, if you want to play your best players, then you got to find more ways for those guys to be able to share the court together. The Kings are a pretty good matchup for them to do that against, I think, because they're not going to take a bunch of threes in certain lineups. So against DeMar DeRozan, I think you should
especially
probably
without Sabonis.
Well, I would want to do it against Sabonis because he's not like a major 3-point threat. He's more of an interior guy. And so if you can match up with that physically, then that would be good. But without Sabonis, he probably will trend a little bit smaller. So we'll see how that changes for them. But I'm curious to see what they bring in. We're getting some Holmes comments in the chat. Deron Holmes, I think, is going to stay in Grand Rapids, at least for now. If they get notice that Aaron's going to be out for a significant period of time, then maybe that changes, and maybe they bring up Deron as more of an emergency guy. But it really is Zeke who is the emergency four, who's the emergency option for them in those cases. And it's not really Deron at this point. I still think that they want to give him some seasoning, let him take his time. And like, you got to trust the organization that they know what they're doing with that. So that's seems pretty reasonable to me. I'll say Nuggets win tonight, despite the fact that there is some trap potential. I do think that they will look for another big Jokic game. I don't think it will be. Actually, I think it will be a pretty efficient game. I think this game for Jokic is going to be big. The question will be, can he avoid turnovers? Can he avoid committing too many fouls? Can he avoid Drew Eubanks elbowing him in the stomach too many times? Because that's probably going to happen. And can the Nuggets play enough defense in order to make up for the fact that they might be missing some guys? We'll have to see about it. But Danny, I think that's going to do it here at number 38. I think we've done a pretty good show here. Hopefully everybody has enjoyed. I always enjoy doing these shows for you folks. It's nice to be able to chat with my guy Danny. We gotta make you a permanent producer, man. We gotta get you on here more frequently. It's always nice to be able to chat with you. Thanks for being a part of it.
Yeah, we'll see in the coming weeks. Some time might open up, and maybe I'll be a little bit more involved.
I would love it. Everybody, that is going to do it for this episode of Pickaxe and Roll. Brought to you by our good friends at number 38 here, Mile High Sports, and of course, FanDuel. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the way out. We will talk to you guys very soon.